management is a major issue in the region of Johannesburg. And in order to address this issue, it is of great importance for us to become acquainted with and understand government structures, so to properly channel our grievances in order to remedy the issue at hand. My name is Fahima Semanda. I am part of the ASRI Fellowship Leadership Program for 2025. And joining us today in order to better understand and tackle the aforementioned issue is Jonathan West. Jonathan West is a candidate attorney at Section 27. His work focuses on advancing the right to education and access to healthcare. His main passion is working on climate justice and how climate change affects the right to education as well as health. Welcome, Jonathan. Have I left anything out?
No, I think that's sufficient for today. I don't want to get into the details of my life just yet.
Oh, okay. Part two then.
Part two.
So the question that I have for you is in reference to structure, function and purpose. What exactly is local government? Can you just walk us through what is local government?
Sure. So local government is essentially, it's a tier, right? And I think in order to understand it, we should first understand our national structure. And so that means we work on a 3-tier system. So that means national, provincial, and local government. And I think for national and provincial, we kind of already know a lot. We hear about Parliament, National Council of Provinces. We understand that they sort of have a very overarching lawmaking function. We see things like NHI, they want to change the health system. That's going to be national and provincial mandates. When we look at the local government, the most important thing to think about is just think about your own community. You don't have to think about what is my municipality or what is my ward. Just think about what are the things you experience every day? And that's usually going to be within your local government's jurisdiction. And so we're talking about things like sewerage, waste. We're talking about roads, but obviously with roads, there's municipal roads and then there's national roads. So it's municipal roads, so potholes in your area and your community. And yeah, just the general everyday interaction that you have with services, that's mostly going to be municipal services.
So municipality is local government, is essentially.
Municipality is part of the local government, yes.
So just for our viewers who don't know the differences, what is the core purpose of government at the local level? You've mentioned the sewage systems, but could you elaborate on that? And furthermore, how do we distinguish the differences between local government from the national and provincial government? Could you make that clearer for the layman, the ordinary person like myself?
Sure. So local government they sit in similar structures as national and provincial. And what I mean by that is we have a legislature. And the way the legislature works, as I said, is we know that provincial and national, they sit in what's called the National Council of Provinces, and our national government sit in the National Assembly. And those assemblies, those bodies are formulated through voting, through party elections. And then obviously our National Council of Provinces and National Assembly sit in Parliament, right? And the local government sits in a similar way. So they're elected, they come together as a body, and that body then functions together as a unit most of the time. And then they can split into committees that focus on certain issues, or they can kind of vote. And I think this now gets into, I think, one of the most fundamental aspects of local government or these bodies that I'm trying to refer to is they pass bylaws. They pass bylaws are essentially regulations that are within their mandate. So as I said earlier, within sewerage or within waste management or within municipal roads. So they can pass bylaws that regulate those functions. So bylaws in Cape Town. Cape Town has a lot of bylaws. It's around things like litter, noise pollution. Again, just think about what are the things me every day as a citizen, what are the things I engage with, And so those bylaws are passed by the municipal government, by the local government. And so they're elected, they come together as a committee, a bylaw gets introduced by one of the committee members, and then they obviously vote on whether or not to pass that bylaw. And so one of the main functions of these local government, they're essentially comprised of councillors, but these members of the local government, one of their strongest functions is to vote on bylaws and to enact these policies.
So apart from the councillors that you've mentioned, who else forms the committee that enacts, or let me say rather pushes forward a bylaw? Sure.
So I want to make a quick distinction. Committee, I've used that word, but it's probably the wrong word, because committees then are formed within the local government. So the way the local government is elected, and this is very important because we're about to enter a local government election. When you vote, you have two votes, and you're going to vote for a political party and you're going to vote for a councillor. And so our legislation is quite complex in terms of there are different, like a municipality or a local government gets categorized into 3 different categories, and how those votes end up like developing that local government is different for each category. So we're just going to like escape the categories and focus more on, you make 2 votes. You vote for a political party and you vote for your councillor. And the entire body is then constituted. Usually it's 50% of the political votes and 50% are the ward councillors. And so your ward councillor, when you make that vote, you're voting for one person. You're choosing, like, I want Fahima to be in my ward and to like support my causes and be there for me and my community. When I have an issue, I go to Fahima, regardless of what party she's in. And so we see a lot of independent ward councillors running for ward councillors, which is a brilliant part of our like democracy, that we get to have that aspect, right? Which is very constituency based. So the councillor is meant to be answerable to the constituents. You then vote for a political party. And the way that works is it's a first past the post system. I won't get into the details of what all of that means, but first past the post system basically just means if ANC gets 40% of the votes in that local area, because now district, municipality, it's all different definitions, but if ANC gets 40% of the votes, ANC can choose, let's say there's 100 seats, they send 40 people to fill those seats. And then if DA gets 20%, they send 20, and that's kind of how you'll fill up the rest of the positions. So the local government in its, if you look at it and the members in it, you're going to see a whole bunch of ward councillors that might have political affiliation but might not, and they're there to represent their constituents. And then you get the rest of these, which are political party appointments. So ANC or D have selected these people on behalf of their like kind of mandates and understandings, who they want in this local government. And then they come together. They then also elect a mayor. So essentially they elect a chief, they elect someone who's going to lead them. And the mayor then elects an executive committee that works with them, a mayoral committee. And I mean, if we then just think about how our national government works, it's exactly the same. As we elect political parties, they select their members, they then elect the president elects his cabinet. So it's the same thing on the local level, as you get elected in through your ward councillor, through the political vote or the party vote in these 5-year elections, and then they elect their mayor, their leader, and the mayor elects his mayoral committee, who's essentially the cabinet.
Join us on the next episode as we delve into how local municipalities, more so our power in your local municipalities, can be leveraged in order to address issues in reference to waste management. Thank you.